this news came down today, and that is, I'm sure you saw it, the Saints and Derek Carr met yesterday at the Combine. And I'll tell you something right now, the Saints are ready to sign him. Yeah. So they're ready to go. The reports are they want to lock up the free agent and Derek Carr. Now, remember, Derek Carr rejected a proposed trade from Vegas to New Orleans before he was cut by the Raiders, simply so he could become, Amal, an unrestricted free agent and use his leverage. Now, the Jets, they're waiting on Rodgers and a decision there. The Panthers, and we've got odds. You see the Jets right now, next team, they're your favorite for Derek Carr at -200. The Panthers are 2.5 to 1. The Saints are 3 to 1. You may want to get in on the Saints right now because what he's doing, and that is Derek Carr, he wants to take his time and get another team or two involved and start a bidding war for his services.
Yeah, I think you're right on that. But I also think a place like Carolina or New Orleans would be a better fit for Derek Carr for a couple of reasons. I think the market size is much smaller, so it helps. Charlotte, obviously bigger than New Orleans, but still not going to be a New York type of, it's going to be like there's blood in the water with the Sharks circling in New York if he doesn't play well. I think in New Orleans and Carolina, people are going to be a little bit more forgiving, So I think that's something that you got to look at with him. The other thing is, which team do you think you can win with? Can Derek Carr overcome Mahomes?
Well, you kept on saying go to the South, right?
Go to
Carolina.
Yeah,
Get down there with Frank Reich in a division that is absolutely brutal right now. Get down there and win.
Yeah, my second reason was going to be that's exactly the point, which is you got to go through Mahomes, you got to go through Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, all those guys, Lamar Jackson potentially there in Baltimore, and probably in all probability. So for me, I would look at taking a spot to go to the NFC South there, New Orleans or Charlotte, whichever his preference is.
It's just funny because one man's trash is another man's treasure, right? It's like Derek Carr. McDaniels couldn't, and the Raiders couldn't wait to move on from him. Yeah. He'll be 32 at the end of the month. And now these teams, the Jets, your boy Salah was talking absolutely glowingly about the meeting they had. They think he's the long-term answer. Mickey Loomis with the Saints went on and on about he is the long-term answer. These teams now lining up for Derek Carr, it just tells you what a dearth of talent there is and how important the position is.
Absolutely right. And you mentioned it in terms of, I don't understand why the Raiders moved on from Derek Carr so quickly. I mean, it was unbelievable. It just all of a sudden they did a 180 on him overnight. And here's the problem with this. Their defense is not good. And who are you going to have playing under center? Jared Stidham, fine if you like him. I don't have a problem with that. But I still am not convinced that they know what they're going to do with their answer under center for next year.
Super Bowl odds for these teams. The Jets are ready to go with your boy Garrett Wilson. He has somebody to throw to. I would say this. I told you I think the Panthers are an ideal spot. They've started to rebuild that offensive line. They invested in the draft last year. It's odd, odd how they started running the ball better once they moved on from McCaffrey, kind of found their identity as a team with an offensive line and a team that could run the football, the Panthers. Again, we talked about it has to be a perfect spot. I totally agree with you, Amal, with Derek Carr. I think Reich down in Carolina with an offensive line that's getting better in a run game and coming off the run, I think that'd be a good spot for him.
I would agree with you, and I think having a good running game is crucial for him. And remember the other thing, Derek Carr historically has not fared well in cold weather games, and playing in Charlotte would help because remember the only two outdoor games you'd have within the division would be on your own home field, and then of course when you go to Tampa, Atlanta, New Orleans are domes as well. So the majority of the season he's going to be playing in a good controlled environment. If he's in New Orleans, you've got 8 to 9 home games that are going to be in the dome, a 10th game in Atlanta, and if you get Charlotte and Tampa generally is going to be good weather, but in Charlotte, I mean, unless you're in late December, you're going to be dealing with pretty good elements. So for the majority of his season, you're looking at a situation where 12 out of 17 games are going to be in ideal climates.
Go to VSiN.com/subscribe to become a VSiN Pro subscriber today.